Hope you're all doing well. Again, please let me know if you can hear me okay, if the sound quality is all right. So, let's see who we have here. So, we have Sean Lugo. Sean, is it the first time here? It's a new name, yeah? So, I need age and where you're tuning in from. Kuro is here. Kuro, don't forget age and where you tuning in from. David is here. Good afternoon, Mehran. He says, good afternoon, David. Good to see you here. And David says, easy there. Easy. David, who's easy? Or lazy there. Can't figure that out. And Don Ilot. That's new, I guess. But he says, hi, Mehran. Hello, Don. Dan, sorry, Dan. Well, I didn't wake up too long ago. So I need everyone's who remembers, we have a protocol, gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. If you don't mind, then we go to the first question, which we don't have. So I guess we wait for that. So we have usually programs grow as they advance, as they go through their program. We have shrunk in about 1 minute by 300%. So that's a new record. So might as well I have my tea and just stop talking because it doesn't help anyhow. Sean says, I just broken up. You mean you just broke up? All right. Congratulations. It's a now new opportunity to find a more suitable relationship. Yeah. All right. I have a silence respond here. No one tells me age, gender, where you're tuning in from. No one gives me any response. And we have no questions. So might as well we end the live stream. So who's in? We have Rhino Gaetano. So how you doing? Hello, Rhino. Age, gender, where you tuning in from, please, if you don't mind. Emmanuel Spitieri. Well, I hope I didn't butcher the name. Says 5 months, and still Emmanuel, age, and where you tuning in from. And Kuro says, hey, Mehran, 26 male, California. Finally, somebody, God damn it. It gives me the protocol. 26 male, California. Thank you for that. Says, what time is it over there? Well, it's never over till it's really over. Oh, you mean what time is it over here? Well, it is 1:30, the same as California. And Emmanuel says 31 Malta. Thank you for that. Emmanuel says, first question says, 5 months and still healing from a narcissist relationship. Hang in there and you will get better. You're talking to yourself, Emmanuel. I wonder, is it a question or are you helping someone here? Because I don't see anyone said that they. Oh, maybe you're saying it is 5 months for you, and you're still healing from a narcissist relationship, and you're saying, giving advice to Sean, who's broken up, by saying, hang in there and it'll get better. Is that the whole scenario? You guys make it clear. Don't make me go and data hunt it to find out, and decipher it. Ah, Emmanuel says, I'm talking to everyone in general. Ah, okay. Joe says, Joe Chaperlin says, how do Joe? Oh, it's in London 19. How do I know if I really love my girlfriend or that I'm just with her because I wanted a girlfriend? Why do you have to be in love with your girlfriend? You have a girlfriend. You like her. She likes you. You guys have things in common. Enjoy it. Why does it have to be a conclusion of some kind? Just enjoy life. You will know when you're in love with someone. Why does it have to be love before you continue your relationship with a woman that you actually are fond of, have a great time with, and have things in common, and sharing experience of life as long as it lasts? When either one of you finds somebody that you feel it's more of a romance than just lust, then you may switch. But at this time, why does it have to be one thing or the other? If you guys getting along, having fun, kind to each other, loyal to each other, who cares if it's clear love that I can't live without you, I need to be around you every moment of my life, or hey, what you doing? You want to hang out today? Let's go for, I don't know, a hike or bike or tennis or whatever, lunch, to a movie. Live your life. 19. You're too young to even want to pursue knowing the difference. The difference will come to you when you meet a girl that you're in love. You'll know it. You know, it's very simple. I don't want to explain it here. The different emotions and different feelings. At this point, just experience how it is to know a woman, to be with her, to deal with her, to please her, to see what she offers, what you can offer to her. Learn how to communicate with her, how to appreciate her. What makes women tick as much as you can find. Not every one of them is the same, but it helps to be in a relationship and learn, educate yourself emotionally, physically, what they want, what they need, how their moods are, what to expect, what not to be so um, hung up on, or what not to be so concerned about. Just learn and experience the relationship. That's okay. Rajprit Nayar says, well, is it okay to have headaches with intrusive thoughts? How to detach any meaning from intrusive thoughts? Raj 26, India. In order to detach meanings from intrusive thought, learn to detach and focus, understand, educate yourself that brain is detached from you. In other words, you're not the brain. Brain is not you. And all these thoughts, intrusive thoughts, they're all brains thingy, brains doing, not yours. their brains malfunction, their brains creation, their brains activity. And since you're not the brain, brain is not you, so let the organ, which brain is, a thought manufacturing plant, let it do what it does, but you don't have to pay attention to it. You don't have to think that what brain does is a deity, is intelligence, is meaningful. It's some no, it's an organ. It's like your liver, your kidney, your intestine. It gets diarrhea, and then you gotta heal it, help it. You gotta understand that it's malfunctioning. Intrusive thought is a malfunction of the brain, and so that's it, and nothing else to it. You don't have to interpret it. You don't have to put meanings to it, because the whole thing, whole function of the brain is random. It just makes thoughts with all kind of information that sip through your consciousness, and it just that's what its job is, to make thoughts. It doesn't really care or know what it's doing. It just wants to be safe. And the way brain finds security is by creating busyness, activity. And when you don't need it, it makes thoughts. It's like when you walk in the dark alley and you whistle, it's because you're afraid. You want to create security. Brain is also like that, makes thoughts to feel secure, because brain doesn't find security in a physical secure environment like your body does. Your body finds security by, like, I'm sitting here, my ears are here, my arms here, legs here, everything is here physically. They're all intact. And I'm in my apartment, the door is locked, I'm in good part of town. So physical environment, safe physical environment creates safety for my body. But as we know, our life, the way we know it, is at least in two parts, mind and body. But brain doesn't find its security the way your body finds, which is a safe physical environment. Brain finds security through busyness, occupation. So it creates that occupation to feel safe, because brain, unlike the body, doesn't have a physical area to find and say, I'm safe here. Your body is here. But your brain, I call mind and brain in this juncture, in this discussion, the same word, but they're different. Mind and brain are different things. But your mind is not like your body, which has a physical stability and it's here, you know where it is. It's always flying around. A second ago, it was last week, thinking about something happened last week. 2 seconds ago was somewhere in last year, what was happening. Or in a minute, it will be somewhere else that you don't even know where it's going to be. You will find out when it is there. Let's say it goes to Mars. And before you know it, it's back. And as soon as it's back, it's gone to, I don't know, Jupiter or Moon. It's all over the place. So it doesn't have a physical area. At least you haven't taught it to have a physical place in the body. So it will be focused on that particular part and be in coordination with the body, mind and body both in the same place. Body is always in a physical place, but the mind is all over the place. That's why you got to train the mind to give it a physical place, to know where in the body it should focus, and you train it. Until you do that, it is going to be making all kinds of movements and distractions, and in order to feel safe, going to come up with all kind of garbage that none of them is relevant to you or makes sense to you, and it shouldn't either, and you shouldn't be bothered. That was in a short. There are lots of other discussions that I've done on this topic in the videos on the channel, so you just go in and type in intrusive thoughts or OCD or HOCD, and you will have an array of videos where you can choose from the titles which would be relevant to your questions. And you all know that I have a site, mindthatseekstruth.com. Mindthatseekstruth.com. www.mindthatseekstruth.com, where you can make an appointment for a Skype consultation, and we can Discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype, whether it's breakup, emotional difficulties and challenges, movement of the psyche, OCD, HOCD, subsets of OCD, intrusive thoughts, and we'll discuss that one-on-one on Skype. And let's see who else we have here. And Danny Garcia, he says, broke up with my girlfriend last month. I went for lunch with her last week to try and rekindle things, and she said no. Should I continue to pursue or what? I really miss her. Now, why do you want to pursue convincing someone to be with you as if she's doing a favor? Why would you want to be going out with a woman who doesn't want to go out with you? There should be certain kind of a criteria and standards that you would expect to be attracted to a woman. Well, yeah, I understand we are all men and we are attracted to physicality and beauty of a woman, regardless if they're interested in us or not. That's a natural program that we heterosexual men have. We can't help it. But logically, you can understand that you have certain respect and value for yourself, and you must have certain expectations from a relationship with this woman. What are those expectations? Number one expectation and qualification standard is that she also likes you and wants to go out with you. If she doesn't, that's a deal breaker. That's a disqualifier. She disqualifies herself if she doesn't like you. You're not supposed to be constantly liking a woman who doesn't want to go out with you or doesn't like you. For whatever reason, that's her prerogative. Respect that, but also respect yourself and move on. There are billions, if not billions, of other beautiful, amazing women out there that I'm sure there will be at least a few that would be interested in you. Why don't you just simply go on, and instead of following and becoming a slave to your desire, trying to fulfill the wish of the desire for pleasure and become slave to desire, instead qualify the woman. What is this woman is going to bring to my life? Am I supposed to be running around trying to please her and convince her all the time that I'm a good man, be with me? The hell with that. No. If she can't see the value or benefits to be with you, she's got no business to taking your attention to her. And you have no business giving your attention for nothing to anyone. So if she's not reciprocating your emotions and your kindness and your attention, she doesn't deserve your attention. And if you do give your attention to someone who doesn't want it, then you're simply giving her something for free. And usually when people receive something for free, they think that's what its value is. Nothing. Therefore, they will not treat you well. They will not treat the gift that they've received for nothing well. You must have a certain price for what you're giving. And that price is your expectations, qualifications, standards, respect for yourself. Then you'll be fine. So you miss her? Yeah, you miss her because you lust for her, because we're programmed for procreation. We want women. We want their intimacy. We want to be close to them. We're programmed to be close to them. We want to have sex with them. And all that interferes and makes you think you actually miss her. You may miss the desire for her. You may miss the pleasure that you get by being with her, but it's not necessarily missing her, because it's not logical to miss someone who doesn't want you or doesn't reciprocate your affection. Why? Why in the world would you offer yourself and what you can do in this life for someone to someone who doesn't want it? And what you think that you miss her, you actually don't miss her. You miss the order that you had with her. You see, you had a certain things that you were doing in life together. I don't know, texting, getting up in the morning, hello, darling, this and that, and so forth. let's go for lunch, or you go to your school, or you go to a job, whatever it is that you guys do, and you meet, or you go to the gym, or you go to dinner, or whatever it is that you guys do. There were certain things that you were doing individually during your day, and certain things you were doing together during the day. Those are called mechanical processes. Through these mechanical processes, you create a routine. Through that routine, you create an order in life. An order in life. Now, that order was built by both of you sharing things, mechanical processes that you would do during the day. And as I mentioned, mind doesn't find security in physical environment, finds security in business, occupation, and in the order of life, in the order, routine, rhythm of life. Now, when this breakup happens, that order that was created by the routine that you guys building together every day, by things that you were doing, is broken. When this order is broken, mind finding its security in the order of life doesn't feel secure anymore because the order is broken. And you cannot create that order alone because it was done by two people. So what does a mind do when it can't find the order and it doesn't feel secure? It still wants to be secure. So where is it going to go to find the security? Where all that, how it was, is recorded. Where? In the memory. So you keep going, the mind keeps going in the memory. You remember, reminisce all the things that was going when you guys were together, because everything is recorded in the memory. So the mind goes in there and finds that recording of how things were, the order, and feels secure. That's why your mind keeps going into the memory, to find security, because there the order is recorded and everything is the same as it was. So it feels secure. But while it's in there and finds security from the recording of the order, who else is there? Your girlfriend. And when your girlfriend is there in the memory, that you see her in the memory, you remember all the things. There is a file that is prerequisites for desire to be born, that it was fulfilled at one time with the things, with the prerequisites that is necessary for desire to be born. It was fulfilled, and that file is also recorded in the memory. So when you see her in the memory, while the brain is finding security through being in that memory for the order, you see her, the file for prerequisites for desire to be born is triggered, and the brain thinks all those prerequisites that are necessary for desire to be reborn is met again, is refreshed. Then it desires her. So you're desiring her because first the brain goes into memory for security. Then you see her, the desire file triggers, the prerequisite file for desire to be born is triggered, and then you desire her. Then you think you're missing her. You don't miss her. It's the order that causes all this. So the best thing for you to do is to create new order in your life, new things you will be doing, new friends, new hobbies, new things that you want to accomplish. Create and build a new foundation, a new mechanical process, new routine. Through that new routine, you'll have the new order. When you have a new order in the actuality of life, your brain doesn't go into the memory anymore because there is an order already in the actual life. It feels secure in what you're doing, in the life that you're doing, in the present moment, doesn't go into the memory. The memory wouldn't trigger the prerequisite files for desire to be born. Then everything else is ready for you to move on. All right. I think that should do it for you. Danny. And we have Debbie Bubble. Oh, Bubble. Oh, you've been here before, Bubble. I remember that screen name. Says Julia, 27, Germany. Says, my boyfriend left me for his ex. He had feelings for me, but for his ex more. I'm so sad. Well, yeah, I can understand. It's sad when you lose a relationship, but the good point about it is that it would have happened sooner or later when the person is not committed and his brain is not fully where his body is thinking about something else where he's with you. So the sooner this happened, the better it is for you, because then now you have a direction to find a new suitable relationship that would be committed to you. So, yeah, it's sad because we're all accustomed to what we have, the order. So the order is broken, so you're sad. But the good news is that you can now create a more reliable order through the new ventures and the new possibilities. So don't be too sad. In fact, be happy, because that's the beginning of a more reliable pathway that you would be on. Danny Garcia says, "Thank you kindly, notes made." Well, this would be uploaded, so you will have this already for your reference. Wow. Wunderbar. What a good tea. This is, wow, nice. Hit the spot. This is roasted dandelion tea, roasted dandelion root tea. Just imagine we have this tea in Hawaii. Ah, what a life. If these idiots stop mandating people so we can travel again, we'll have a normal life. Ruin their lives. All right. We have Kyle, 28 Male, Illinois, Chicago, is it? I remember I drove from Portland to Chicago with two of my schoolmates. What was it? I think 1975. Long time ago, isn't it? Straight through from Portland to Chicago nonstop. We switched driving, and they were sleeping. I was driving, and at one point I was really sleepy. I could see overpasses on the highway, just like so. I just parked the car on the side of the road, slept for an hour. Otherwise, I probably could have been causing accidents or getting to accidents. And Danny Garcia says, "Tell us about your story, how you came to make videos, and how you got interested in topics you discuss in your videos." Well, I don't know if you guys are interested in that. There's lots of reasons. I guess one main reason was that when my son was breaking up with his girlfriend, we were discussing, and he was talking to me about it, that he wants to break up with her. And so we went through the whole process of the emotions and thought patterns and so on, and what's involved in breakup and the feelings one gets. And he said to me, that was a long time ago, he said to me, "Dad, the stuff you're saying is actually very helpful, makes sense." So I thought there must be many other young people around the world who may be going through breakups or relationship challenges, and they could also benefit from these things. And I also wanted to share the experience of being divorced and to know how is the proper way of dealing and interacting with the ex, to be cordial and respectful and gentlemanly, and the challenges that could be there, and how to treat each other in front of the children after divorce. All that was very important to me, because I thought all these affects the psyche of the children, the way the parents deal with each other after separation, and how they should be treated, and they should come first rather than the personal relationship between mother and father. So I discussed all these. These were my motivations to know how challenging, painful these such experiences in life would be, both for people who are separating from each other and also from the children, also from young people who are getting into relationship and then breaking up and so on. So I started it that way. And then, of course, because of my interest in the movement of the psyche, I educated myself further beyond what I had experienced and researched in university as far as the movement of the psyche in relation to mind and body coordination and the energy of the universe and our energy and how we exchange and interact and interchange this energy. So I increased my research into philosophers and masters of movement of the psyche of 100 years ago and so on. And then for years, I studied their discussions, and the psychologists and quantum physics professors that would gather around this particular master and ask their questions and discussions about these topics of movement of the psyche. And it was fascinating to me. And that came about when I was helping a man in Germany whose wife had left him, and he had a very young child, and he was devastated. That was pretty much beginning of my channel. So I helped him for a few months, and he was fine and up and running, and I didn't hear from him for a couple of months. 2, 3 months later, he sent me an email, and he said, I wanted to say hello and thank you and give you a gift. And that gift was a link. He said, I think a man like you can do a lot with this link. I opened the link. Sure enough, he had it right. It was what was missing in my research. It was the link for teachings and discussions with the psychologists and quantum physics professors between all these scholars and Mr. Jiddu Krishnamurti, who was pretty much a pioneer in his time, 100 years ago almost, in understanding the movement of the psyche, not from books and other people's work, from his internal, inward analyzation of his psyche. So, of course, his discussions were elaborate and challenging to understand. So I would watch them and listen to them, lectures and discussions over and over. And then I would walk by the beach in the middle of the night, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and ponder on what I learned, what I heard, the discussions, the lectures, the analyzations that he did, the inward pondering on topics of the mind and the psyche, thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, all these constantly. For years, I did that. A couple of times in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I was walking at the beach and pondering and recording what I would understand from what I had learned and analyzing it inwardly about my own psyche and in general. And I was walking and talking in this thing in the recording and then pondering, and the police stopped me. Very friendly, of course. And they were wondering what I'm doing in the middle of the night. So I said, well, I research things, and then we start talking about their problems. The conversation went to their challenges, relationship challenges, so on. So I made a couple of friends, two different police officers, different times, different. So anyhow, this continued for years. And then combination of that plus my other research on neuroscience and work of the brilliant surgeons and neurosurgery to understand the experiments that they had done on the brain to localize different functions of the brain in the brain. Can it be localized or not? And the findings and discussions of Aristotle from 1,000 years ago in regards to dualism and materialism, and then modern science having caught up with it 1,000 years later and proving that the mind, in this case it's called mind, but mind and brain are different, that brain and you are different. You're not the brain, brain is not you. And so all these understanding took years. And I thought it was just like when I got that link of Mr. Jiddu Krishnamurti, it was like fish to water. Like for me, I couldn't wait till I come from work and sit down and watch this from, I don't know, 5 o'clock till like 4 in the morning. I couldn't stop it. And I had to just learn more, more, more. Years later, so I can be somewhat understood and helpful in the matters of what is thinking, thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego. Then I relate that, use this to help myself and everyone else who's interested to learn about their psyche, their devastations and the movement of the psyche, whether it's about breakups, relationships, other challenges. Then we move on to OCD, subsets of OCD, and all the other things that brain has caused. I've got lots of videos on this during the past many, many years. So that is shorter the long. Danny, now you say, oh, I'm sorry I asked. It was too long. Now, Kyle says, what's your thought on working on a relationship with a female partner that has borderline personality disorder? Is it sustainable after problem that happened over our 3-year relationship, but she seems like she can't get past the things that happened? So let's put her borderline personality disorder aside. If a woman cannot get over certain things that you guys have discussed it, exhausted the discussions on it, and have made clear your intentions or apologize for any wrongdoing, if she can't let that go, or if she lets it go, you can't let it go. However, if it's not working, why do you want to continue that relationship? What's the holdup? What's holding you in a relationship when the communication and trust and commitment level and ability to learn from mistakes and build on it is not there? Why do you want it? Ask yourself. Instead of asking me why and should I, ask yourself, why do you want to continue? What's the reason? You come up with the reason that why is it that despite of what you say, whatever the problem is, that you haven't been able to solve it between the two of you, why do you still want to be there? For what reason? Can you think of something? It all boils down to having been used to the order that has been going on and intimacy. You want to have that intimacy, and you like the fact that you can please her and you feel good about yourself as if you have scored a point because you pleased someone who's hard to please. And that makes you very valuable in your own mind, because all through childhood you've been told, like everyone else, we're not good enough. So you're always in pursuit of proving to yourself and to the others that you're good enough. For that reason, you hang into tough situations. People who can't be pleased, so you want to please them. Why? They can't be pleased, the hell with them. Move on. Why do you stick around? Because you want that affirmation. You've been put down all of your life. You're not good enough. I am good enough. So I'm going to stick to all the tough things just because I want to prove that I am good enough. Somebody got to tell me, yeah, you're right. You're good enough. So why do you have to crawl through shit to believe that you're good enough? Why can't you just do your best? And if it's not working, then respect it and respect yourself and move on. I don't care if she's bipolar or not. That comes next. That's a different topic. But whether one is or not, why do you want to be with her if she can't forget something that happened 3 years ago? And since I don't know what it is, I can't really comment more. If you want to talk to me more, you're welcome to go on my site, mind@6truth.com, make an appointment. We'll discuss this topic, what's concerning you, one-on-one on Skype. Old school says it's been a while since my breakup, but I'm self-sabotaging when it comes to meeting girls, not giving it a chance. I think I've lost my confidence and self-belief. Any tips to get my mojo back? Well, your mojo is there. It hasn't gone anywhere. You're just distracted with things that you shouldn't be distracted by. I think one of the reasons that you're still there is because you think it's a sin if you turn your back on this relationship. You loved her, obviously, one day or someday in the past, and it's a brainchild of yours. It's something that you love and you cherish, and you're used to being loyal to that feeling. And you think if you turn around and move away and go on about your life, you're disrespecting the love that you had created in your mind about her. You have created an image about her in your mind, but that image is not her reality. You got to let go that image, that what you thought she was, or at the time you met her, you felt and you thought of her the way you did. But now that she is not, obviously, because you guys broken up, you still think of her. You're still keeping the same image you had of her at the beginning of a relationship. And you think it's a sacrilege if you actually see her in her actuality as she is and how she treats you right now. Instead, you constantly perceiving her as it was in your memory rather than visualizing, rather than seeing her in her actuality today, the present time. So you are projecting how she was and what you felt about her onto her as she is now, even though she doesn't treat you the same way, just because she looks the same way physically as she did then. So you look at her, it reminds you of her character in the past. So you're looking at her with the eye of the past. I want you to look at her with eye of the now. The now, how she behaves, how she treats you, how she communicates with you, her actions in life, her plans in life, whatever interaction she has with you now. Not this is the woman that used to behave with me like then, and therefore that is who she is. This is just a phase or no. That's then is dead, no longer exists. This is her reality. So you bring yourself to the actuality of her today, see the way she treats you, and see if she was treating you this way then when you met her, would you still want to go out with her? Would you have pursued her? You wouldn't have. So the reason she's getting away with it is that you're looking at her, but you're perceiving her. You're bringing the way she used to be, superimposing it on her. You don't see her actuality today. You see her with the eye of the past. Take that away, see her with the eye of the now, and then see if she measures up or not. She doesn't, which she doesn't, then to hell with it. You move on. All right. Now, old school says 38 UK male. Thank you for that. Old school says thanks for all the helpful videos. You're welcome. Promote the channels, guys, because the channel, I believe, is second to none in its videos, in its approach, in its obviously helpfulness, knowledge. in all its aspects, but we're invisible. Somehow we're lost in the 30 million channels that are out there. So if you guys would like and enjoy this channel, promote it on your social media. The videos you like, talk about it in your chat lines, whatever it is, promote it so we can reach more people and help more people. So let's see if we have reached everyone. We have Aman here, 21 male India. Thank you for that. Aman says, I like a girl. She's a year older than me. She helps me in suggestions of study for a company job. She's not my teacher. She graduated a year before me. So I like her and want to ask her for a date. How should I do that? Just say to her that, I really appreciate the way you helped me and you're such a good quality person. I appreciate you. I feel so comfortable with you. I would like to reciprocate and ask you to invite you for lunch or coffee or something. Don't have to directly say, "Oh, I love you." Can I take you out? Yeah, just it's like you're reciprocating. You're paying back her kindness, and then you go out with her, and then you just be yourself and see what she likes to do. Give her a good time, and then see how how it develops. But give yourself this idea that I want to ask her out, and what if she doesn't say? Just sugarcoat this invitation rather than a direct invitation. You know, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's the best thing to do is to ask the girl out for a date, and the opportunity arises. But sometimes it's also be very subtle. Is better. It has more of a appealing effect than if it's just dead on. It's kind of like how some people use perfume. If a girl uses a touch of a beautifully formulated perfume, it's very inviting, intoxicating, inviting, tantalizing. It's a soft, indirect imitation. But when they put a lot on, some women are putting a lots of perfume, you just want to vomit. You can't even be there for too long. So that's kind of if it's too much, it kind of, sometimes you got to put just a subtle, it's like a hint, please come in. Rather than the door is open fully, everybody can come in. So then people say, oh, it's for everybody. I'm not interested. Got to make it special. Anyhow, let's move on to Sibyl Aini. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correct. Says Aristotle, love him. All right. Danny Garcia says, thank you. That was very interesting. Can you share about your childhood, your career? Well, listen, that would be all about me. That was more than I should have shared anyhow. If I ever write a biography, then you can read it in that, my childhood, my career and all that. Actually, I've got a lot to tell. It's been an interesting life. Quite stories to tell. So maybe someday, if there is enough finances available, there's time available, I'll have a biography done. But not when there's 8 people in the chat line here. And I wonder, with all the popularity of the solutions in the videos and the need for these sort of discussions and sharing information, why is it that the live stream with the title of Breakups and Intrusive Thoughts has 8 people here? It should be 8,000 as far as I'm concerned, with the quality of videos and discussions that we have here. So if you guys can solve that for me, I'd appreciate it. Leno Spahio says, hello, bro. Can I ask you something, please? Of course. Go ahead. Liano, but first I got to know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. Then I'll get to you. So let me know your gender, age, and which country you're tuning in from. I'll get back to you. That's a protocol that we expect everybody to share before I go on with their question. Julia says, hi, Meran. Hi with 3 eyes. That's hi, Meran. Hello, Julia. Julia, age, gender, we know gender. Age and where you're tuning in from. Leno Spahio says 20-year-old male from Albania. Ah, Albania. Okay. Julia says, just want to say that your videos help me so much. Thanks. You're quite welcome, Julia. Let me know again, age and where you're tuning in from, which country. In the meantime, I go to Liano. Excuse me. Okay. Liano says, so what I want to ask about is I had one moment, guys. I'm going to go to the window and do a cough. Something stuck here. Ich habe eine Jeromel in the throat for the Germans here. Hang on. Okay, let's hope that works. So Liano says, 27-year-old from Albania, 22-year-old from Albania says, so what I want to ask about is I had this trauma from weed. I got so high. And after that, I felt like I've lived in a dream, like everything surrounds me is not real. I overcame this, and now it comes back. You got info about depersonalization, derealization. If you could give me any advice, please. I searched through the web, and it says what is happening to me is called depersonalization. And I really follow your tips about dating and everything. And I wanted to know if you got info for this. Thanks. No, I don't have much info on that. But the thing that I want to talk to you about is that obviously you got high. And when you get high, certain things get into, the brain cells and affects that. And then obviously the neurons are now going to go through a little readjustment to fall back into their place. So my suggestion is to talk to your doctor, and at the same time stay away from things that get you high, to let your body bring back the function of your brain and the cells and conditionings of it to the default setting. Otherwise, you're telling, it's like you're telling me when I drink whiskey about the bottle, I'm hallucinating, and then I don't know what to do. What should I do? Well, stop drinking. So the first thing for me to say is you follow the common sense. Stop getting high. It's messing up your brain cells. And of course, talk to your doctor and figure out what you really should do, because I'm not a doctor. And Julia says, I'm 25 from Brazil. Says, haha, it's how we say hello in Brazil. We are very happy. Good. Delighted to hear that. Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding around with you. Delighted. So 25 from Brazil, Julia. And Julia says, I've been struggling with TOCD, transgender OCD, and it sucks. All because one thought, I've never questioned myself like that before. It started with a thought that made me have HOCD, and now my head is getting even worse thoughts about my gender. It really sucks. I want to be and feel good as a woman that I always was. And you are still, and you always will be. Understanding the difference between what brain spits out and what you are is very important. You're not the brain, and brain is not you. Therefore, brain, you have to understand, is an organ. It's a thought manufacturing plant. That's its job. It makes thoughts. And like any other organs, liver, kidney, intestine, when they malfunction, you don't say that the malfunction is you. You clearly see that the malfunction is due to that organ not doing its job as it was programmed to do. So the, the organ is gone rogue. Organ is ill, is malfunctioning, is functioning irregular than its natural programming. You see that clearly. When your intestine is malfunctioning, you get diarrhea. You don't turn around and say, oh, I've been a diarrhea all my life. This is the normal way of my intestine working. The way it was working, it doesn't count. This is the way it is. You don't say that, do you? You clearly see this is not what I'm comfortable with. This is not what I prefer. This is not how it makes my body balance. This is not how it always was. So this is the wrong one. It's malfunctioning. Or your liver. They gauge the enzymes, and the blood test comes back, says there is a certain enzyme that is up and down or this and that. They figure out what's malfunctioning in there. And you don't say, oh, that must have been what always I should have been. No, when it was balanced, you didn't have these fatigue and you didn't have these side effects. That was you. But now, this is not the way the organ, the liver should be working. So they help try to give you prescriptions and to deal with it. When it comes to brain, suddenly all of these gadgets, all of these formulations, all of these understanding, all of these logics go out to the window. Why? Because we've been duped since childhood to believe that brain is us. Brain is intelligence. It's all nonsense. You're not the brain, and brain is not intelligent. In fact, in the research that the brilliant neurosurgeons and neuroscientists, such as Dr. Penfield, did, He had thousands of operations on the brain. And brain itself doesn't have any nerve endings, so you can operate on it and the patient doesn't feel a thing. Once you get over the skull and go through that, once you get to the brain itself, the patient doesn't feel a thing. That's why on many of his operations, the patient was awake to help with the research. They were able to probe different parts of the brain and to find localization of what that particular part for the brain was designed to do. For example, they could stimulate the occipital point in the back of the brain, and they could have the patient say, yeah, I see certain kind of light. So they could stimulate the eyesight, the vision, or they could stimulate another part of the brain and a movement of a limb, a hand maybe move up. So they could localize the motoring. They could also stimulate speech center, and the person would say something or make a noise that was localizing the speech center. So there was a speech center. But they could never localize consciousness, compassion center, mathematics center, intelligence center. They could never localize any of these. So they could never find any intelligence center. They could not localize that. They could not localize speech. They could not localize political center. They could not localize compassion center. They could not localize consciousness center, which means there are aspects of the mind and you that the brain cannot even reach. So not even brain is not you. Brain is way below you. You are above the brain. Your awareness is you, the one who sees what brain is doing, and it's contradictory to what you are or you prefer to be. That what notices this is you. What this is the brain and brain's function limited to that organ. So your understanding of all these OCDs and HOCDs and whatnot, that is got nothing to do with who you are. That has to do with the malfunction of the brain, which then, of course, there's a lot more to it. There's amygdala involvement, which from millions of years ago, it would send emotional danger signals for our survival. So as soon as we would hear a twitch in the jungle, we would not wait to see what it is. Is a dinosaur about to eat us alive or what? We would just flee, because that was the signal from amygdala was for us to alert us to run for your survival. We would run, and later on we would or would not find what it was. But we would act on it nevertheless as soon as we receive it. Now, many of us with OCD brains, amygdala is still overactive. Whether we used to be some kind of a warrior in the past or always on the run of some kind, there's an overactiveness in amygdala which sends emotional danger signals when they don't exist. And the things that you're holding sacred in your core principles, in your wise advocate, Dr. Schwartz called it, in your gatekeeper, Dr. Philipson calls it, in your superconsciousness, I call it, those values are what you hold sacred, and you gauge what is being suggested by the brain versus what your values are, and then you disconnect yourself with what is not in line with your values. So when you are understanding these signals coming from the amygdala, you act on it, and that's because the amygdala is trying to protect you based on your values that you hold sacred. So your gender, your inclination, is your identity. It's very valuable to you. You have put it in your gatekeeper, in your superconsciousness, in your wise advocate. It's sacred for you to protect it. So amygdala is sensitive about it. Anything, any thought, any kind of a question or any kind of a attack on that particular important value of yours, it's going to send a danger signal when there is no need for it because you're already aware who you are, what you are. But it's sending you to alarm you to be careful. While there is no reason to be careful in your case. But because there's so much discussion about these different lifestyles that is unnecessary, so much focus on it in the media, in the papers, in the social media and whatnot, and expressions of all personal things to everybody, which was always in existence in the old history as well, but it wasn't advertised about it. So everybody had their own way of thinking about it, and it was not so enlarged out there. So brain picks up all these information that is out there, discussions and topics all out on TV and everything else. So its job is what? Making thoughts. And when such thoughts are contrary to its own values, the amygdala comes into the picture and it's constantly sending danger signals because it's a virtual world. It doesn't understand that these are talks about things that exist in the world. It feels it might be some kind of a danger to you. So, according to what it knows about your principles, your inclination, and your values, it wants to alarms you, alerts you about the existence of all these things just to protect you. But then you, thinking that the brain is you, say, oh, if it shows up in my brain, it must mean something. And then we add the malfunction of the caudate nucleus in midbrain in a striatum, which is a lever to shut down intrusive thoughts. When it malfunctions, it doesn't shut down intrusive thoughts. When we add that to it, then it lingers that message or that alarm or that alert that the amygdala has noticed from all these extraordinary information that is constantly being bombarded out. When it doesn't shut it down and it lingers, hovers, prefrontal cortex says, well, what's this hanging out here? It must have a meaning. And then you sum up and conclude, I must be changing because the thought is not going away. So it must mean something because the brain is me. These are all misconceptions. Once you examine the components involved and how they malfunction, then you understand that this is just a malfunction of caudate nucleus, which is a lever supposed to shut down intrusive thoughts. Everybody on earth has intrusive thoughts. Everybody, without exception. But in non-OCD brains, when a malfunction, when an intrusive thought shows up, the person says, oh, that's nasty, and boom, caudate nucleus shuts it down, and the way you go disappears, and you go about your business. In OCD brain, it's more intense in protection of it, and therefore, when it shows up, it sends humongous amounts of information as alarm by amygdala, and then caudate nucleus not doing its job right. The lever to shut down intrusive thoughts is malfunctioning, so it hovers. And you say, wow, if it hovers, if it doesn't go away, if it doesn't dissipate, then it must mean something. That must be me changing. No, it just means there's a malfunction. Like your intestines has a diarrhea, then you got to heal it. You got to rewire it. You got to help it. Brain the same. You got to rewire the brain, retrain it to get caudate nucleus to function as it always did. Caudate nucleus is like a lever, like a automatic gear shift of a car. Like when you are driving a car, you go, it changes gear at a certain moment. When it doesn't, you practically got to grab onto the manual gear and put it in the gear because the automatic gear shaft doesn't work, so to speak, just to explain it. Caudate nucleus is supposed to automatically work when intrusive thoughts show up, and it does in most people. In some of us, it doesn't. So you got to now grab onto the gear shift and help it, meaning you got to, by the way you react to these thoughts, you retrain the brain, rewire the brain, how the signal that I'm not interested in, this is not a valid thought to be entertained. By the way you react and interact with these intrusive thoughts, You help rewire the brain through neuroplasticity, and you get the brain to get back to its default setting and get the caudate nucleus working. Until then, you help the caudate nucleus manually by your reaction, the way you react to these intrusive thoughts, and make the brain to learn that I'm not reacting to this. In other words, it shows up, this intrusive thought, and you notice it. Then you label it. That's not me. That's intrusive thoughts. Quickly, that's not me. That's the brain. That's not me. That's HOCD. So when you relabel it and then you go on about your business, you let the brain know that I'm not taking these as an alarm because they're not relevant to me. They're irrelevant. The brain sees there's no reaction, interaction coming. It doesn't get fed of attention. Therefore, it lets go. It's like you're walking and there's a crazy person on the road from here to your grocery store. And this crazy person says things. The first beginning few days, you get shocked. And then after a while, you say, oh, that's a crazy person. So I just see it and move on. I see, oh, that's a crazy person. Move on. I don't care about the content of what it says. It's all irrelevant. Doesn't matter what it says. I don't data hunt it. I don't judge it. I just say, oh, that's a crazy person. And I go about my. Eventually, the crazy person moves away because it doesn't get any reaction, interaction from you. Therefore, it gets trained by your behavior that I should move somewhere else. Maybe somebody else pays attention to. So this is the short of the long. And of course, you're more than welcome to make an appointment on my site and we'll discuss it one-on-one on Skype. All right. Aman says, that girl I told you who rejected me, as you remember, she keeps stalking and trying to send memes showing happened accidentally. She don't say that directly, just send meme and say nothing. But this, her action of taking my attention hurts me. You're too worried about what hurts you. Just do your what you like and just don't pay attention to the girls who are not reciprocating the way you expect. All right. Liano Spahiu says, yeah, that happened before 5 years. I overcame it and now it came back. I stopped it all. Okay. Yeah. Well, and I want to thank you a lot, Mehran. You really helped me in my dark times of my life. You're quite welcome, Liana. I appreciate it. And thank you for sharing that with us. I'm delighted that the videos have been helpful to you from time to time. Danny Garcia says, what are your thoughts on meditation? Excellent. On my channel, if you just type in the search engine of my channel, just type in meditate, you'll have many guided meditations that I've done it on live stream, and you can enjoy it if you like. There are different kind of meditation, short ones, long ones, breathing meditation, concentration meditation, and so on. For many of you who may be going through OCD or any subsets of OCD or any anxiety or any momentary distractions of what kind, there's a simple breathing exercise that can be done in a second, pretty much, which is involving two different breathing system. You see, in our breathing is involuntarily; it's automatic, like the heartbeat. But it's the only organ, our lungs, that has allows you and gives you an option of a second breathing system. The first breathing system, which helps you to breathe normally as we do, like in, out, no matter what we do, is naturally is in, out. Pre-Butzinger complex. It's called pre-Butzinger complex. That's the name of that system. Doesn't matter what it means, but just to separate them. And then there's another system that allows you to manipulate pre-Butzinger complex, which is the normal breathing. That is called um, prefacial, parafacial nuclei. Parafacial nuclei. And that is when you can actually manipulate your normal breathing depending on what you're doing. For example, if you're laughing, you can still breathe even though it's not a normal breathing, because parafacial nuclei allows you to manipulate the pre-Butzinger complex. So you can change the rhythm of breathing from normal to the laughing style or crying style, which you're able to use that system to even breathe, like when you're laughing. That's not normal breathing, but it allows you to laugh and breathe according to what's available, or crying, the same thing. So for that, this is what you do. So you do that second system, which you don't have to know the names. I'm just telling you for your information. So you use that second system to manipulate the normal breathing and then see the results. So this is what you do. Normally you breathe once, but I want you now to breathe 2 times, meaning you breathe one and you breathe again, and then hold a few seconds and then let go slowly through your mouth or your nose, however it's comfortable. It looks like this. Then you breathe normally. Then you can do it one more time. Breathe in 2 times. It's very calming. It takes the anxiety away. It takes your focus back to where it was. It takes all thoughts out of your brain. And it's like the mechanism psychotherapists use for someone who's deeply in depression and they can't help it further. They give it electric shock. This is similar to that electric shock. It jolts you out of that, whatever it is that you're dug in, and gets you out to the main road and you can move on. So whenever you feel super anxious or intrusive thoughts constantly, so what you do to give yourself a break kind of jolts you out. It's like you've been walking on a soft ground and you kept walking around the circle. You've dug yourself into a trench and it's hard to come out. So the shock or this jolts you out, so you're back on the main road and you can see your way clear to move forward. So again, you can all try it right now. Just together, you breathe in a second time and double breathe, and you hold a few seconds and you exhale. And then I want you to feel how it feels. Tell me how it feels afterwards. So let's go. Ready? Breathe in. And breathe normally. Just keep breathing normally and you'll see kind of cleanses your brain, clears your mind, and shows you that life goes on, hopes are there, opportunities are there, you're alive and you're okay and you'll be okay. All right, let's go on to Aman says, Marin, I feel relief when that rejection girl tried to snatch my attention. But then I feel sadness thinking she'll no longer will try to go snatch my attention like this. I don't know, my weird mind condition. No, it's just everybody likes attention. So even though she doesn't want to, kind of give you what you want, a relationship, but the attention is still, you say, oh, it's better than nothing, because you feel important when somebody pays attention to you. You got to move on from that. You don't need your importance to be in the hands of other people's attention or reaction towards you. Your importance is based on your accomplishment, your goals, how you treat other people, how you treat yourself, how you prepare, how you train yourself, how diligent you are, how responsible you are in life. That's what gives you value. So then you wouldn't be at the mercy of somebody paying attention to you to feel good or not. Don't give a damn. Just be the boss of your own life. And Rasa Imani says, hi, sir. How to do ERP, although having the most tricky thoughts? But Rasa, I first like to know your age, gender, and where you're tuning in from. And ERP, you got to go to your psychologist who is specialized in OCD and OCD subsets, not any regular psychologist. Many psychologists don't know shit about OCD and OCD subsets and how to treat it, or ERP and so on and so forth. They don't know, they don't exactly understand this. So you got to have a specialist in OCD and OCD subsets when you want to go see a psychologist. And you can also discuss with me on my site. But here, basically, ERP is meaning to face your fears, pretty much. In other words, it's like if you feel something is going to go wrong today, I might die, or I might get, I don't know what's going to happen. It's just say, okay, you're going to die. Like you up it, and it's okay. What are you afraid of? Okay, you're going to die. Oh, fine. Okay, I accept that it's possibly I may die. Okay. But obviously I'm not dead. So it's the illusion of a suggestion of a brain, or the actuality as I observe and I'm living in it. I'm alive. So the fear is not the real, the fear is a suggestion. And I would like to stick with the actuality and what I'm involved and the fact, rather than illusion or fear of something that possibly could someday, somehow, somewhere, for someone to be the fact. That's not me. Same thing with these thoughts of opposite of what gender you are. And heterosexual feels like, oh, the brain says you're gay. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gay. Fine. To shut the brain off. Sometimes, people say things that you don't agree with them, but just to shut them off, say, okay, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, right, thank you. Instead of arguing, trying to convince them, he's got no logic for what he's saying, and you don't want to continue that discussion. So you say, yeah, okay, sure, yeah, you're right. Okay, fine. That's how you deal with crazy people. Now, brain is the same. When it's suggesting to you as a heterosexual that you're homosexual, well, there's no sense arguing with it. It's gone rogue, it's malfunctioning, and it's not going to accept that it's malfunctioning because it's malfunctioning. It can't even see its own malfunctioning. So if you just tell it, no, you're sick, it doesn't understand. So what you do is says, yeah, okay, sure, I'm gay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, fine. Maybe I am. Yeah, sure. But the reality of it is that I'm not interested in it, that I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm interested in what I'm interested in. But you want to put that in my head, I just want to say, okay, thank you very much. All right, fine. I'm gay. Okay. Can I now go and check out the girls? So you just, that's pretty much a short way of an ERP. But exposure response therapy, exposure response prevention therapy, ERP, is when you basically let the brain do its thing and disassociate yourself with data hunting and trying to prove something to an organ. You just accept the fact that thoughts can exist. So if it tells you homosexual, it's not that you accept you're homosexual. You're accepting the fact that thoughts that could suggest you're homosexual can exist. Like I go to drive my car to go to a destination. There are millions of other cars on the road. I accept the fact that all these other cars are there. I don't need to know where they go. I don't need to know what they carry. I just accept that they can exist on the road. But I go about my own business. These thoughts show up. I accept the fact that these thoughts can exist. Thoughts can exist. But they're irrelevant to me. But they exist. They say I'm homosexual. Okay, fine, thanks. Bye bye. Short discussion. The amygdala is aware that you're not homosexual. So it sends you the signal. Otherwise, if you were homosexual, there would be no awareness of the contradiction between what the brain says and what you are. You would not even notice that the brain is saying that. There's only an awareness when there's a contradiction. If you become aware that the brain is saying something that you don't like it, that is not your preference, that is a suggestion from outside, it's not something that you prefer or you want, whether it feels like it or its thoughts are there, doesn't matter. It's not your preference, it's not your choice, it's not what you are interested in. So therefore, you have recognized a contradiction. Awareness has recognized a contradiction. There would be no awareness if there is no contradiction. Meaning, if you were what the brain is suggesting, there would be no notification, notice, awareness of this difference. You would just be that. It's just like my brain says you're heterosexual, you love girls. I won't even notice that it said that. Why? Because there's no contradiction. There's no awareness of it. But when an intrusive thought of some kind shows up that is not according to my values, not in line with my values, with my inclination, with my identity, with my preference, with my choices, then I become aware of this contradiction. That means that's OCD, that's HOCD, that's whatever substance of OCD. Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't even know it. So you can find many of these videos that discussions are very logical, and you just type in OCD or HOCD on the search engine of my channel, and you'll have a number of these videos, I don't know, 500 of them. And then you choose according to the title what could help you at that juncture. All right. C1 says, hello, Meran. Carl, 26, UK, says, my friend who I commented on the other week, who is 25, had asked his 42-year-old to marry him. Oh, God. He isn't talking to me because I advised against it. Should I support him? No. He's fucked up. He's pussy whipped, and there are other reasons that he feels secure with her, motherly. She must be hot too. I mean, who cares? I mean, 46 is a young woman and is very wise and has a career and is hot if she takes care of herself, and a full fledged woman. But obviously, it's not going to last. 4 years later, she's 50, he's 30. 10 years later, she's 60 and he's only 40. Then he's gonna break her heart. If he's if he really loves her, he doesn't have to marry her. Why does he want to marry when they're together and enjoying their time? And eventually she might actually ask him to leave because a 60-year-old woman with a 40-year-old man that she won't be able to run toe to toe and sexually, physically, is not going to be a match. She may actually ask him to leave because at that age, she wouldn't need a 40-year-old who is all like a stallion and still want to run around and gives the woman insecurity and anxiety of abandonment, whatever the word is, abandonment. So, uh, no, I wouldn't support him. He's an idiot. He's got issues. No 26-year-old should be marrying a 46-year-old woman. It's just stupidity. Doesn't work that way. You can be whatever you want to be, tolerant, politically correct, and all that bullshit. It's not sexism. It's just that energy is different at that age. It's like saying a 70-year-old man wants to be with a 26-year-old woman. That's stupid. The man may feel, oh, I'm still got it. I'm young. I've got a 20. Yeah, but that 26-year-old woman is got shit in her head because it doesn't work. Physically, he's not going to be able to satisfy her sexually, maybe now and then. And mentally, she is not going to be satisfying him at that age and his expectations of comfort, service, and all these other things. And he's not going to be physically able to run around with her or sports or activities and travel and this and that. So, what kind of it's a momentary lust, and that's fine. Be together as long as you want. Don't get married. Stupidity should have a limit too. Anyhow, but to each his own. He wants to do it, well, he will learn it. And if he makes a success out of it, he's the first. Or he might have some mental issues, who knows, or needs that he didn't get and she's giving it to him. 42-year-old, well, she's very young and she must be very hot too, but who knows? Let them enjoy. But getting married, he's looking for certainty, and he's trying to get that from her by making it easy for him. And he might be lazy. He doesn't think he measures up with a young woman and can't satisfy them in what they may be seeking. And this woman obviously has already got a career and got money and got things that he doesn't have to do shit. Just be there like a gigolo. Just have sex. Yeah, okay. Well, then that's his problem. But you don't need to get into his head. Just leave him. He's happy with it. Be happy with it. That's fine. You don't give a shit. You don't have to support him, but you don't have to abandon him either. He's a friend. Okay. He's an idiot. Okay. That's fine. That's his choice. He's friend, but don't support the idea. Whenever it comes to that, it says, listen, man, it's your decision. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but that's you, and that's you. I don't want to break up my friendship because of that. You will, hopefully, it will work out. But the odds are against it. But I don't want to discuss that. I want to continue being your friend. That's all. But being friend doesn't mean I always say okay and agree with everything that the guy says. Julia says, I love the explanation. Thank you so much, Mehran. You're quite welcome. Says, where are you from, Mehran? I'm from Canada, but originally I was born and raised in Iran until almost 18, not quite. Then my dad sent me to university in the States. And then from then on, I graduated, I went back to military. So I'm a second lieutenant in the infantry division. At least I was. And then I immigrated to Canada 42 years ago. So that's the short of the long, Julia. And Stuazi says, hi, Mehran, male 30s, Serbia. Okay, Stuazi, hello there. Says, I have a general question. Since I'm new to all this dating game, why do girls play games? Hot and cold, or sometimes she's warm and texts, and sometimes just ignoring. Most of the girls I come across were bad texters, leaving on road or plain ignoring me. Yeah, that's what girls are. Mostly, they do their own thing and they respond anytime they want. Just imagine, if you were growing up and girls were hitting on you from early age on, different ages according to your age. The girls would be constantly after you. Like, you're, I don't know, 12-year-old boy, a 12-year-old girl would be interested in you, or 13-year-old, or, they would hit on you, or they would show their affection to you. And that goes throughout your life. Eventually, you become very sure of yourself that there's always going to be girls around. It's not a anomaly to run. Yeah. So you become really kind of jaded, I guess, if that's the right word. Like, I have it every time I want. It's like someone who's got food on the table all the time, all day long. This food is on the table. Any kind of food, snacks, afternoon tea, and whatever else, lunch, dinner, breakfast, always available. Everything. Then he starts paying less attention to the food and its importance. So with these girls, you need to be a little scarce. If you're too available, you're like the smorgasbord, always ready to go at her will. Whenever she wants, she can have you. But when you're scarce, then she understands the difference between you and others who are throwing themselves at her. So they don't respond, or they're not confident. They're afraid maybe if they sell themselves too short, or meaning if they reciprocate your emotions, since they don't have enough confidence, you may think of them not much. So they play this game of, oh, I'm busy, washing my hair, or doing whatever else excuse they have, making it look like that they've got other things going, which in fact they could be sitting around and watching a television program, nothing. But they pretend. Most people pretend they're important. They could be sitting around doing nothing, but as soon as they say, you want to go to a movie, you say, well, I'm not sure. I've got this other thing I got to do. But let me see. I'll reschedule. I'll call you back in about 5 minutes. All the bullshit. It's all insecurity. Nobody is direct, pretty much. They're afraid, what if that person loses interest if I'm too available? And girls are pretty good at that. And they know that because they've been hit on since teenage time with all kinds of ages. And so that's their game. And they also want to see what else is out there, how many attentions they can get, because that's how they feel confident. They feel their worth is in the attention they get from the others. So if they get your attention too easily and constantly, then you're no longer a challenge. You gave them what they need, and now they use that confidence to go and get the things that they don't have, like the attentions of the others who haven't paid attention to them. They become bold and they become courageous. And then when they get that attention from that person, again, they jump to another because they're not really confident. They're constantly trying to reboost and reboot their confidence level. So they play that game, which is detrimental to their healthy relationship. And they will get used to it. It becomes their habit. And even when they find the right guy for themselves that they're really interested in, they would still be paying attention to who else is paying attention. And that's going to ruin the relationship someday. Anyhow. So the ones who don't respond, stop interacting with them until they come back. They don't come back, you move on. That's the end of that. Reza says, I'm 21 and I'm Persian. Ah, yes. So it's Reza, it's not the Rasa. Oh, is it Rasa? Possibly Rasa. All right. And where are you located, Rasa? Says, I really want to have a direct connection with you, sir. Okay, yeah, you can. You go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, mindthatseekstruth.com. Make an appointment for a Skype consultation, and then we'll set it up on Skype, fine-tune the appointment, and then we'll chat. Usually for new clients, if you make an appointment for an hour, I add 30 minutes on me, so we'll have plenty of time to get to know the topics and discuss without rush. Double A says, hi, sir, 19 male. Okay, 19 male from where? God damn it, you guys. Why is it that you guys have a hard time to provide these three little things? Age, gender, where you tuning in from? Heavens. Says, hi, sir, 19 male from Earth, I guess. I've been going through HOCD, and there is this girl I like and I'm interested in. During my HOCD, I got fears that I had feelings for a guy or something like that. And this face and his face popped up. Yeah, okay. And that's what HOCD is, intrusion of all kinds, image, face, suggestion, all kinds of things. So none of them is relevant to you. These are brain sounds. These are brain thoughts. These are not you. It's a brain. You got to separate the brain from you. And for all of you who are interested to know a little bit more about yourself, I highly, did I say highly? I really, really highly, really, really, really highly recommend this video that I have made. This video is a bit a long one, but it packs lots of information that helps you to see things that you don't see and you haven't seen. And then, of course, I have other videos that I can recommend that they really help you to see the separation of the brain and you, and proves it to you without beyond the shadow of the doubt. I've proven to you philosophically and scientifically that the brain, that you're outside of the brain. Brain is an organ and you're not part of it. You're outside of it. And when you understand that, then you don't give a shit what the brain does, even though it's so powerful that it can make you feel things according to the thoughts that it creates. But those feelings are the power of the brain, but it's not an evidence for you to feel that the thoughts and suggestions of the brain were correct because you're feeling in your body something. That's the power of the brain that can manipulate through thoughts, make your body react. No different than when you go to a doctor and he says, cross your leg, and you cross your leg, and then the doctor hits with some kind of a plastic rubber hammer on the joint, your knee, and your knee flips up. Did you want your knee to flip up? No, you had nothing to do with it. It's a reaction of that action to that joint that makes the reflex. So the brain is powerful to use thought as that rubber hammer to create a reflex in the body, but the body did not. You, as the person who owns that entity, the body, did not plan on the body to behave that way. But just because the body behaved that way, that does not mean that's an evidence that the thought behind it that was created by the brain is correct or reputable or credible. Understand this. This is very important for you. Now, I'm going to put this here. this is very interesting video. It's based on the report Dr. Egnar made on the laboratory experiments of these brilliant neuroscientists and neurosurgeons with the um, Nobel Prize type of echelon study, which packs lots of beautiful information. And I enhanced that information with a little bit more research here and there, and was able to provide and prepare this video for you guys, which is very helpful. And there's a lot more other videos that are available that I can recommend. Once we have a consultation, I'll be able to pinpoint which videos would be perhaps best for you to review. AA says, I'm worried if I end up kissing this girl that his face is going to pop up and ruin the moment. That's all right. Let it ruin the moment. Does not matter, because the fact and actuality is that you're kissing the girl. The virtual world of the brain, it can create static and interfere with the moment, but there is no actuality to it. There is no actuality to it whatsoever. So it doesn't matter. It can pop up. You may be making love to your girlfriend, and the picture of or presence of some man shows up, or different images that has to do with homosexuality. But that has nothing to do with the actuality of you. These are the illusory events of a virtual world where brain is in existence, and it projects it as a virtual idea, but it can never materialize in an actuality of the world, but it can suggest it. And that suggestions means nothing. There's so many suggestions, 80, 90,000 suggestions a day is produced by the brain, but you don't do any of them. But when it comes to sexuality, suddenly you're so pitched on it and so tuned. What the hell does that mean? Nothing. It's just like any other thought that came and you just disregarded it. But this is such a sensitive topic, and since you've been duped to think that you're the brain and brain is you since childhood, then you get all messed up. Anyhow, again, you guys can watch the videos or make an appointment with me on Skype, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. Nilesh Sharma says, I feel guilty every time I consume meat or dairy because of animal cruelty, yet I can't stop and not sure if I should or shouldn't. Yeah, I understand your feelings. It's a sensitive feeling. We all love animals and so on. But you know what? That animal that you're thinking that way, and I appreciate that because I have had the same feelings from time to time. That animal itself tears up another animal, eats, because that's carnivorous. And we are partly that. We're not just vegetarians. That's what I don't think we are. We need protein, or maybe we can survive on vegetables, but there are many other things that we get from meat. And we didn't think this way when we didn't have the brain that had the capability of thinking and speaking. For millions of years, we lived and we ate meat. And we ate whatever we could, fruits, meat, stuff like that. So don't worry about it. Be conscious. Don't be cruel to animals, but, you got to survive too. So, Reza says, could you please pin the website that you talk about? I couldn't note it down. That I talked about? Oh, yeah. My site is www.mindthatseekstruth.com. Mindthatseekstruth.com. There you go. So if you guys get any kind of a, appointment, and then the notification will come to me. And if you have any problem with notifications, you can email me directly to say, have you received it? And then, of course, once I have your Skype, which is part of the information you will provide when you're making the registration, I will Skype you back with the confirmation. I would email you back with the confirmation, and then we'll hash it out the exact time and date of the appointment on Skype. So you can choose any time and date just to fill in the inquiry of the application type of thing. But then we will fix it on Skype on whatever suits my schedule and yours. And AA says, thanks, sir, from Lebanon by the way. Okay, thank you very much. Ahlan wa sahlan. That's my take out of 3 years of studying Arabic in school. God, that was a different language. It was hard to learn the damn thing. we got very bad grades all the time. The grammar was so difficult, and I couldn't understand a damn thing. But I learned a few things. That's all. It was compulsory. It wasn't like my choice, but it's harder than French. More complete language as far as grammar is concerned. Masculine, feminine, this and that. You want to call a table as masculine, like French has la, le, and I think Arabic has even more than that. Anyhow, P. Irlo says she acts like super traditional girl. What do you think about this type? I don't know. You figure it out. I don't know. You see what tickles her fancy and find out how you can deal with her. And Reza Imani says, thanks a million, sir. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And Double A says, ha ha. Yeah, Arabic is really hard. Yeah, damn thing it is. It gave me shitty grades all the time. Ruined my GPA. But that's the best we could do. And AA says, I know French as well. Yeah, you Lebanese, French is like English in many other languages. I remember I had Lebanese friends, and they speak French as well. So I know French as well, and Arabic is definitely harder. Yeah, I noticed that because I took French in university, and that wasn't as difficult. It was challenging, but not too difficult. It's just, simple. Okay, guys, it looks like it's almost 2 hours, and I want to just pack up and go for a hike in the forest, which I've been looking forward to, and it's going to be beautiful. I wish you guys were here. We could all go together. It would be a great thing. From forest, it's about an hour to this beautiful scenic dam, all green mountain around, and a big dam and so on, and body of water, and you can see the mountain and so on, and then come back through the forest. It's a pleasant, relaxing hike. I'll go alone, and I pack my water and my goodies, and it's just a good relaxing. I look forward to it. Actually, what time is it? Yeah, I should get ready in an hour or so. I'll go. All right. I look forward to our next live stream. I hope this was as fun and helpful for you as it was fun for me. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning. I'll talk to you soon.